All right. Hi, Coach G. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How you doing?
Awesome. Can you go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, Coach G. I teach at a charter school in Worcester, Massachusetts. I've been coaching there for 2 years. It is a varsity girls soccer program. The school I work at is pretty diverse. Plenty of Spanish, African American, Middle Eastern students. Yeah, very diverse school.
Awesome. Do you have any favorite highlights from coaching, like one or two situations that kind of like bring you back to why you want to do it and why you keep doing it?
So the first one would definitely be our first win. My first season, it came about midway through the season. That was a huge highlight just to see the excitement of the girls and um, for them to see all their hard work paid off. And then probably my second one would be our second win of the season, um, just because that win was a much more competitive game. The girls had to work for it, and I could tell during that game everything kind of clicked for them. And even when I asked them afterwards, they said they much preferred that win to their first one. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. All right. I want to go into your philosophy on coaching. Is sportsmanship an important part of your coaching philosophy? And if so, why?
Uh, Sportsmanship is a huge part of my coaching philosophy. So I'm an assistant coach. I work with my head coach, but yeah, sportsmanship is one of the biggest things we preach to our players because, as we always like to tell them, it's not just about sports, it's about life. So a lot of the things that we teach them, if you're getting bumped during a play or getting aggressive during the game, you have to be able to calm down and just refocus and retool that energy into something more productive because you're going to have to do that in life. And one day you'll stop playing the game, but life is going to continue on long after you hang up your cleats.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you parallel the sportsmanship philosophy you have towards the girls that you coach to how the coaches sort of respond to things and how their behavior impacts the game as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing you learn working with kids is that they're very, especially kids these days, they're very much quick to call you out if you say something, but then you don't act on it. So we kind of have to lead by example so that they know what right looks like. And also, it helps when, you're trying to teach a lesson later on and you can turn and be like, hey, you see me out here every day doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
All I'm asking you to do is X. So if I can do it, you can definitely do it.
Right, absolutely. Do you think integrity plays a big part in your coaching philosophy too? Like when it comes down to not just how the girls respond to adversity in the situation, but just in general, I guess bringing integrity into the game of like fairness and respect and focusing on their behavior over like staying above others.
Oh yeah. Again, that's one of the big pillars too, is because we always like to tell them, I mean, there's 20 something of y'all, there's only two of us. We can't always see what's going on. I mean, a very small, minute example is if we're, reffing during a scrimmage or something, and I'm on one side and the ball goes out on the other side, and I can't clearly see who it went off of. I gotta trust the girls to be like, all right, yeah, it went off on me.
Hmm.
If it go little things like that, but even something as large as, if we're in a game and, penalty kick online, something like that, you got to be able to tell me, like, hey, yeah, no, coach, it shouldn't be happening. Or, yeah, I actually did hit her in the box. But regardless of, you know, how it will impact the game, you show me more about your character in that moment. And that's what I'm looking for as a coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there one event that kind of stands out for you regarding good sportsmanship in your experience with these girls?
Um, yeah, so it's one of the things that because I played sports all throughout middle school and high school. But what I'm learning through coaching girls is that girls are very different in terms of how they see the game, how they approach the game, and even how they treat their opponents. Um, because there were many times during the last 2 years where we were coaching and either we would be beating down on a team or a team would be beating down on us and be a hard physical fought game. And then the girls would come to timeouts or they would come to huddles and they'd be fired up and so there were a few times in my head I'm like, oh geez, like how's this handshake line gonna go, because we always tell them like no matter what happens during the game you always shake the opponent's hands, all this other stuff, again going back to good sportsmanship. But there were a few times during these very highly contested games that while they're going through the handshake line, I'm hearing the girls tell me like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty! Like you're such a good player. I love you." All this other, and so it just kind of, I'm just like, because as a guy, if we have a hard fought game, you getting hand slapped. I'm barely looking at you. Like I'm just focused on. But these girls, they're able to like put that aside and still give compliments, whether whatever the outcome of the game was. So that's something that they teach me when it comes to sportsmanship. So yeah, no, I'm very proud of stuff like that.
Very cool. How have you dealt with unsportsmanlike issues on your teams? So, like, what kind of consequences or penalties do you guys typically use? And I guess I'm asking in general because I know as an assistant coach, you guys work as a team with the coach, so you
Yeah.
work as a unit. But what kinds of, what kind of consequences or penalties do you usually apply to the girls?
Well, so it's funny for our team specifically. My head coach looks to me to handle more of the punishments and stuff like that. She focuses more on like the skills and plays and starting formations and stuff like that. And I'm more of the strength and conditioning and punishments and stuff like that and iteration. So, yeah, we again coaching high school. We have from freshmen to seniors. So we actually had a freshman last season. It was her, not her first time playing soccer, but her first time playing varsity level. And she's on the smaller side. So uh, she would get tossed around and stuff like that. But then she would become very aggressive to the point where, she was shoving other players and all this other. So there were a few times we had to call her off and she just come off so fired up and coach, they're pushing. And, the first few times I kind of just let it slide because again, they're kids, you got to let them like work through stuff. But then when I saw it became a problem, we would start sitting her for entire halves to see if that got the message through. Because with kids, you got to understand that they're very short sighted with the things they do, especially when it comes to their emotions and stuff like that. So they're just thinking, oh, she shoved me, I gotta shove her back. So by me sitting you for, an entire half, after you come out and you're like, oh, okay, cool, whatever, I'll take that. But then after 5 minutes, when you calm down, you're seeing your friends playing. You come up, hey, coach, can I go in? But I told you I need you to calm down, and clearly you're not calm enough to be out there. So come talk to me a second. Then you have an extra 10, 15 minutes to sit there and think like, okay, was it really worth it? That sort of stuff. So we use those punishments and those tend to work. And if that doesn't work and we have really, really stubborn players, then I'll bring it to practice where, okay, you're gonna be running, you're gonna be doing bear crawls where so the next time you wanna try and, shove somebody or let your emotions get the better of you in a negative way, you're gonna remember that, okay, this is a consequence. Do I want to pay it?
Right. Interesting. Okay. Um, so are you familiar with the term gamesmanship?
I am not.
Okay. So I'm going to explain to you what it is. I'm going to give you a quick example, and then I'm going to ask you a follow-up question on this. So, gamesmanship is when we use strategic, unethical bending of the rules to achieve a goal when we're playing sports. This is when we use like psychological tactics, or we try to take advantage of the other team with this like win at all costs mindset, right? So it's not breaking the rules definitively, right? But you're doing something that's unethical in a way that you're sort of bending those rules and it becomes unethical. Okay. So an example of this would be this video that we watched in my class called Coach Wrong Ball. And in the video, we see two teams, two youth football teams lined up, ready to start a play. A legal snap was performed, everybody was in bounds, and the quarterback for the offensive team um, basically lied and said, questioned whether the ball was the right ball, and it confused the other team. And it made the other team, the defensive team, kind of like believe that the play was dead. And the quarterback ended up running the ball down the field and scored a touchdown. And what made this an example of gamesmanship is that while there was no technical rule breaking, right? The ball was snapped, nobody was out of bounds. They violated trust and they took advantage of the other team in a way that was perceived as unethical. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So this is sort of like demonstrating that they achieved or were able to get this unfair advantage not through skill or through character building. It was actually just done through in some ways deception, right? But in an unethical way. So my follow-up question to you is going to be, do you utilize gamesmanship as a part of your coaching strategy? And if so, what's an example of that?
Uh, So that's a very tough question because I can't think of it, especially using kind of that framework of an example. I can't speak to um doing something like that in my coaching, like using kind of like that type of confusion thing. Um, but it's what I will say is for something like that, what I tell my players is, okay, so if we're the team on defense, um, once that ball is snapped, you play until the whistle. So it's not on us if the quarterback is looking like, oh, is this? I don't care. That's not my issue. That's his worry. We're on defense. Our goal is to get that ball. He can be as confused all he wants. We're not going to stop play. The only time we stop play is when that clock stops. So I kind of give them that mentality of you're always locked in. So if you're going to beat us or deceive us, it's going to be off a trick play that you have to skill and develop. You're not going to catch us, looking the other way or lacking or like giving you that pause. It's just not going to happen.
So I want to use maybe for just clarification. Another example of this would be like if I parallel it to soccer, would be pretending to be fouled on, right? So
Hmm.
diving to earn a free kick or a penalty, or time wasting, right? When you go to do a throw in, or faking an injury to stop the clock. Are these tactics that you would use
Oh,
with your
okay.
team?
Y-
Ones that again are not breaking the rule but
yeah.
may earn you an unfair advantage. I mean, and I know you're a big basketball guy, so like another example of this would be like flopping, right? You've got like the
Yep.
LeBron James or the James Hardens of the world who exaggerate things to try to earn extra penalties or fouls. So my question is do you use these kinds of tactics? And again, this is just a blanket question because a lot of people do, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I for that, okay, so for that level, what I will always tell my players is if we're going up a team that's doing stuff like that, no, we're not gonna, intentionally flop or anything like that. Now, if they actually do hit you, and I know you're tough and the pain is only like a 3, but you play it up to a 5 or something like that. All right, cool. Get your bag all day, like let's get. But that's because they actually hit you. It's not they, lightly brush you with their shoulder and you're gonna roll off and be out. Like, no, that I don't support. And so short answer is no, I won't. I don't support that sort of stuff at all. And even if the other team is doing it, um, I'm just gonna talk to the ref and be like, hey, listen, can we? This is getting a little ridiculous. We are always going to play our game regardless, but at the same time, I'm not gonna allow for that.
Awesome. Um, do you consider gamesmanship as taking advantage of the rules or cheating? Or do you think that the advantage that's gained is ethical?
I don't think the advantage that's gained is ethical. Um, but hey, if that's how you have to play your game to win, then I'm not gonna stop you, but it'll just make it that much better when we come out victorious because you clearly tried everything you could. Um, short of cheating, and it still didn't work out for you. So, hey, just get back in the gym, work harder.
Yeah. So you don't consider it cheating. You think it's like everything they're doing leading up to actually cheating.
Yeah, it's like coming right up to the line of cheating. And because again, it's not like it's a secret, refs across all sports know it. You reference flopping in the NBA and stuff like that. It goes both ways. Like the refs know what's happening. So it's also on them if they to look at it through that lens and be like, all right, is this actually a foul or is this guy flopping?
Right. Okay. What suggestions might you have for new coaches with regards to sportsmanship and gamesmanship philosophy? Like if you were to talk to somebody who was just getting into coaching today.
Um, Play your game. Don't be influenced by what the other team and the other coach is doing. If you've been preaching to your team all season, philosophy of sportsmanship and we do the right thing and all this stick to the code and all this other stuff, and then you get midway through the season, you come up against a team, that's doing this gamesmanship stuff and all this, and all of a sudden you tell your team, okay, we're gonna start doing. You're sending a confusing message, and you're telling them that you're not as secure in your beliefs
Mhm.
as you're claiming to be, which will in turn not allow them to believe in your message as strongly. So your team's gonna crumble. Um, so yeah, I would say no matter what philosophy you pick, just stick to it. It's going to be rough. Um, you can love a sport, you can play a sport as much as you want, but coaching it, especially at the high school level, is a completely different animal because it's not just you and your work ethic and your appreciation and your love for the sport. You have 15 to 25 kids who all have different levels of skill and appreciation and love for the sport, and you somehow have to figure out a way to like get all of them on board. Especially if you come from a program like ours who kind of isn't the most skilled or doesn't have the best reputation, the mountain you're climbing is even higher, but it's that much more important for you as a coach to stay positive and tell them, hey, it doesn't matter. Next game, pick yourself up, keep your head high, and keep moving. You set the tone for your team. So if you come in moody and head down and all this other stuff, that's how your team's going to be. You stay inspired, you stay positive. Your team's going to feed off that energy and stay inspired and stay positive.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Coach G, for your time.
No problem. Thank you. Great conversation.